And we're live. Welcome to Love and Money Secrets TV. I'm your host, Dame Lillian Walker. And today we are going to be doing an informational and educational question and answer session. And I'm going to go over the basics on the stem cell activation patches, how they work, what they are, why and how and by whom they were created, and some other pertinent information for folks like you who are interested in getting some basics. It's like stem cells 101 and what's the difference between stem cell activation patches as opposed to the different types of stem cell therapy. So let's get started. So let me share my screen with you. We're going to go ahead and start with this screen. There we go. And so before we get started, let's start with our disclaimer, because we want to make sure that we cross our T's and dot our I's. As you know, they say the devil is in the details, and attention to details are important. And as you may or may not be aware, your stem cells do in fact take care of all the details of your body. So our disclaimer is that the patches are not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. We do not cure, heal, treat, or diagnose. The suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional. We strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. No medical claims are being made with the suggestions here. All right, so let's get started. We are going to talk about the different benefits that you will receive as a direct result of wearing the stem cell activation patches. So here in this picture here, we are showing you what this is actually an electron microscope picture of what stem cell activation building blocks of life look like. So one of the things about stem cells is that these stem cells are the blueprint that create the framework to create a cell to work in whatever manner your body needs. So as your original stem cells that you were conceived with start to look to what type of cell needs to be created, it will go ahead and because it has a pluripotent nature, what that means is that as a pluripotent mechanism, it is able to morph into whatever it is that you might need. So in this diagram here below, I know this is a little small, but in this diagram here below, we are actually showing you that a stem cell has the ability to turn into a cardiac cell. This is called, it says interoceptive. That means a cell having to do with your digestive system. It can turn into a fat cell, red blood cell. It can turn into a skin cell, a nerve. It can turn into any kind of cell that your body needs. So as the stem cell identifies, usually what the stem cells will do is they will go to the part of the body that has the most inflammation, because that is evidence of damage in the body. And where there is inflammation, there is damage, there are cells that need to be repaired. So then your stem cell will morph into the type of cell, let's say it's a heart cell that needs repair because there's inflammation there. Maybe you're someone who has been suffering from pericarditis, which is the inflammation of the sac, the pericardium, which is the sac in which it houses your heart. So then the original stem cell that you were conceived with will send out a cell to repair anywhere around in the heart, the pericardium and so forth, to repair that. So if the inflammation that it finds is in your gut lining, it will turn into, because it's pluripotent, it will morph into all the possibilities. It will turn into an interoceptive cell in your interoceptive system, which is in your digestive system. If your inflammation is inside, let's say, your large intestine, then it'll go to that spot in the large intestine where there's inflammation, where there's cellular damage, and it'll go to repair that. So I want us to think for a second here. Pretty much every one of us here lives in a house. And I want you to think about your body as your temporary housing unit that houses the spirit, the energy, the soul, the emotions, the personality that is you, through this flesh and blood house. We also have houses that are made of brick and mortar and, all sorts of building components. And so your body is just like a house. And so I like to use that analogy. You want to have, I found this image and I thought it was so cool because it talks about integrity, reputation, trust, reliability, sincerity, and dedication. And those are attributes that I think that we should all house, that we should all inhabit, that we should all accept, receive, and embrace as far as our body is concerned, because we want to have reliability of this housing unit that we call our temporary body or temporary housing unit. And so you choose to sit down, you choose to take a step, you choose to jog, you choose to run. You want your body to be reliable. You want to be able to, if you have the impulse to run all of a sudden, you want your body to be able to respond. And so think of your body as a house. And it's important that every house, you can't start with the ceiling, you can't start with the roof, you can't start with the walls, you have to start with a firm foundation. So let's start with the mother stem cell activation patch, which is the foundation of your home called your body. So that is X39. X39 is the mother stem cell activation patch that actually signals your body to turn on 1/3 of your genes, of your genomes let me talk to you about how it does that too. So it's going to signal your body to turn on 33% of your original stem cells that you were conceived with that have been dormant. They've been asleep. They've been off. Shut off. Just like a light turns off, they were shut off by the time you were 30, 50%. That's 50. I should put in here. Whoops, the number's little here. 50%. We'll make that number bigger so that you guys can clearly see it. So 50% of your stem cells, by the time you're 30, they turn off and become dormant. Now, why does that even happen? That happens as a direct function of aging for no other reason. It's not because anything is wrong. It's simply a mechanism that happens as a direct result of aging. Okay, so 50% turn off by the age of 30 years old. Amazing, isn't it? So by the time you're 60 years old, almost 100% of your stem cells have turned off. Now, I think most of you probably were not aware of that. Is that not incredible? So as a direct result of that, what we do is we use these stem cell activation patches that look like this. If you kind of look at this, you'll see that there's a little crystal lattice in the middle. And this is an FDA compliant class 1 medical device under the general wellness category. And originally, the scientist, David Schmidt, was contracted by the Department of Defense. And the Department of Defense commissioned him to create a stem cell activation patch that would in fact increase the energy and optimize the bodies of the Navy SEALs Black Ops. So David started this about 22 years ago, and then 9/11 hit several years later. And when 9/11 hit, then the Department of Defense, their spending shifted, which was the perfect opportunity for David, because then he was free to expand and explore and to uncover all the different types of stem cell activation patches that would deal with all the different aspects of the body. So the very first stem cell activation patch that he started with was the energy enhancer, and they had tremendous benefits. In fact, I have a friend who actually is on the stem cell activation patches. He just retired from 42 years of service in the military. And when he started off in the Navy. And he said, yeah, we would be in those submarines for 90 days at a time. We wouldn't see any sunlight, no fresh air. And think about this. In that type of environment, one of the things that the military struggle with is you have blue light toxicity which causes, in science, we call that mitochondrial dysregulation. That's basically at a cellular level. You have these little organelles. It's like a little tiny factory inside each cell that is responsible for pulling in the nutrients from the blood that you have ingested orally or have sprayed, inhaled, applied on your skin. And then the cells go to digest it through this little mechanism called mitochondria. I'll have to get, for my next presentation, I'll have to make sure that I have an image of mitochondria so that you see what it looks like. It's kind of a, if you look under an electron microscope, it's kind of a little squarish kind of little organelle inside the cell. And it has little components inside of it, which actually digest and methylate and basically create into light to release into your bloodstream, so that then the other cells can continue to transport throughout your body whatever it is that your body needs. So this mother stem cell activation patch, this is your foundation. This is going to be the flooring of your house. You wouldn't put a house together, putting the walls and roof together. No, you would start with the foundation, right? And so now you have the foundation of the house. Then you can choose what kind of flooring. You could put carpeting, tile, wood floors, whatever you choose, right? So this is your foundational patch. And this stem cell activation patch activates the stem cells in your body by your own body's infrared light. So what is that? So we all have infrared light. We are all 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. That's right, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So that heat that our body emits is as a direct result of the light, the infrared light that's inside of our bodies. We have electrolytes, we have electrons, we have photons that travel throughout our body carrying information. And as they slow down, they turn into particles and create whatever it is, whatever nutrient, whatever it is that our body needs. So this stem cell activation patch, the moment I put this on the body, automatically it will turn on my body's stem cells to the tune of 33% that were previously off are now going to be signaled and turned on. So what does that do when it turns those lights on? We're lighting your body up like a Christmas tree. So this is going to immediately repair, as I said before, repair cellular damage, restore the collagen inside your body, inside the cells, in the skin, the tissue, etc. It's needed for all of your organs, skin inside and outside of the body. It's going to rebuild scar tissue. That's right. So if you have scar tissue, if you have lesions, whether it's from accidents, from previous surgeries, it doesn't matter. You are now going to have that tissue replaced with the original tissue. It will get rid of the scar tissue as well as any lesions that you might have, and it'll treat it as waste because it no longer serves your body. So how do you get rid of that waste? I'm so glad you thought of that question, because it's going to get rid of it through urination, perspiration, and defecation. I'm going to repeat that. Perspiration, urination, defecation, through 3 different means. Also exhalation. You get rid of some waste also through your ability to exhale. As you inhale, you exhale, you get rid of toxins as well. So you're basically going to sweat, pee, and poop it out, okay? This is going to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, because as far as your stem cells are concerned, what it sees is a damaged cell. It's a damaged cell, and oxidative stress is what causes a wrinkle. That's why you don't see a wrinkle in a 8-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old. So your body is going to automatically rejuvenate because it's going to reduce the fine lines and wrinkles. It's going to repair them, right? It's going to increase your energy. It's going to increase your sexual libido. It's going to increase antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammation. And you will experience anywhere from 50 to 100% pain relief within 3 to 4 minutes and have improved sleep and hair growth. So I'm going to share real quickly with you someone who just this morning, they're a brand new user. They've been on the patches for less than a week. They started on Monday, so it's been 4 days. And today they woke up and she said, I had serious gut issues for for last year and heard you mention Tuesday night Zoom to place the patches in a diamond around your belly button, which I did this morning. I also placed an X39 at the top of my spine and on my back. I only started the patches this week on Monday. I woke with a sour stomach today. For the first time in over a year, my stomach felt normal within minutes. I'm so excited with these results, needless to say. So glad I caught you sharing that. And so here we have her text message, a new user, just getting started on the stem cell activation patches. Oftentimes people will ask me, well, how soon am I going to see, feel, experience some sort of results? I said, well, for some people, the moment I put the patch on them, they feel something. Just on Wednesday this week, I patched a lady who had pain in different parts of her body. And the moment I put the patch on her, she immediately said, when I removed my hand, she said, oh, I feel warmth. At first, I thought it was the warmth of your hand, but when you removed your hand, I still feel the warmth. So I know that it's the patch that you put on my neck bump, which we call governing vessel 14, because we merge cutting edge Tony Stark technology with ancient traditional Chinese medicine, acupuncture, to exponentialize, to magnify the effect of these stem cells by placing them on that acupuncture point. So what we recommend is that you take this mother stem cell activation patch and place it on governing vessel 14, which is the neck bump. If you just take your 4 fingers, palpate down your neck. For some people, it helps to put their neck a little bit down. You will feel at the bottom of the neck, at the top of your spine, you will feel that neck bump. That's where you apply the patches, starting in a vertical fashion. So this person, after just 4 days of being on the patches, she's having these results. It was very exciting. So I like to equate your stem cells like your printer cartridges in your printers that you have at home that you use to print copies. And so if you were to make a color copy and a black and white copy, when you have brand new cartridges like these here, of course, you have 100% of the ink in them. So your original and the colored copy of the original are identical. You can't tell them apart. And the same thing with the black and white copy. However, when you get to 70, 80, 90% of your cartridge being used up and you only had 10, 20% left, now the original copy and the original and the copy, now you have a faded copy of the original color copy, and the black and white original and the copy is a gray and white copy instead of a black and white copy. And so the same thing is true. Your stem cells, now that you only have 50% less, you now have some missing information with the remaining 50% of the stem cells that you have by the time you're 30. And then by the time you reach 40s, 50s, and 60s, that's why we see an onset of a lot of different chronic inflammatory conditions, diseases, syndromes. We see people starting to have in their late 30s, early 40s, maybe 50s, sometimes 60s. It depends on how well the person has maintained the health and vitality of their body, of course. So then you see people with GERD, IBS, heartburn, ulcers, all sorts of different types of inflammatory conditions. If not treated, things get worse instead of getting better. So now you're going to have 33% added to your original stem cells that were previously asleep, and now they're awake. They're no longer dormant. So we are now going to move on to the next building block after the mother stem cell activation is we have a daughter stem cell activation patch, and this is called X49. And this is going to be like your bearing wall. I want you to make believe that this is the house's foundation, and now you have the bearing wall, and that's the daughter stem cell activation patch. This is a very powerful activation patch because this one protects you against radiation poisoning. So it gives you radiation poisoning relief. So I had somebody recently who actually just started less than a week ago as well. And she said she actually was sent to the hospital, went running because she had burns all over her body from radiation poisoning. And at first, she had quite a few tests that were done. And then they finally, through a battery of tests, concluded, yeah, you have radiation poisoning and you're getting it through your environment. So long story short, how can you get that from your environment? Well, it's actually not that difficult. If you're traveling, every time you go through a TSA scanner, every time you're inside of an airplane, there's high degrees of radiation that's inside that space while you're traveling in the air. The closer you are to the sun, the more radiation exposure you have. We also have it from our water supply. Our water supply here in Huntington Beach have disclosed particles of radioactive material. You also get it from the air, depending if you're living close to let's say if you're living close to a nuclear power plant or an electrical plant or some sort of chem labs that use radioactive components to create the chemical compounds and the medicines and whatever things it is that they're manufacturing in that chemical compound, then yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I tried to. Sorry, I thought I had the volume down on that, so I apologize for that. So anyhow, so we get it from all sorts of different places, not to mention there are certain foods. If you have organic food, of course, especially if it has the Project Non-GMO certification on it, which is a very rigorous, expensive certification for any food provider, whether it's, any kind of packaged food provider that gets the Project Non-GMO certification, that has to go through a rigorous independent lab testing in order for whoever it is to get that certification. So food that doesn't have that, if you are buying, whatever packaged food and it's not organic, then there's a pretty good chance that food it's possible that they have radioactive materials because that's not part of their prerogative to make sure that it's organic. So anything that's not organic can be in that food, including radioactive materials. So this patch is actually going to protect you from that. For those of you who are electrical engineers, who are physicists, who are more science, you're neuro nerds like myself. I call myself a neuro nerd because I specialize in neurological conditions and I'm a stem cell activation patch specialist. You know that electromagnetically, a Faraday cage is created that is an electromagnetic field that protects you against EMFs, etc. This particular patch we have over 90 independent research studies that actually show and prove and confirm that a Faraday cage is actually protecting you, and you actually have radiation poisoning relief from wearing this on a daily basis. Tremendously powerful patch. So another thing that this daughter stem cell activation patch does is it increases your lean muscle mass, your bone density, muscle mass, and strength. It increases your energy, your focus, your cardiovascular system. It goes to use your belly fat first. So it reduces your belly fat because it's going to use that in order to do whatever it needs to do in the body, to use that as an immediate source of energy. So it's a nice side benefit. If you have belly fat, it will reduce your belly fat. It also helps osteoporosis. If you have osteoporosis, if your body doesn't have any osteoporosis, then that leaves more energy to do everything else that this patch does in your body. So when you wear these two, this is like the dynamic duo of the Fantastic Five. X39, the mother stem cell activation patch, then you have the daughter stem cell activation patch. Next, we're going to go to glutathione, and glutathione is your master antioxidant. It's part of our YH system. So what does that look like? So here's our next wall, glutathione, master antioxidant, detoxifier. As soon as you put, little backtrack, X39 will increase your glutathione levels by 30%. When you wear the supportive patch, which is now one of your walls that's next to your bearing wall, you have glutathione. It will not only detoxify your body, but it'll increase your immune system. And it will boost your glutathione selective hormone within 24 hours, 300 to up to 600%. We know this because we've measured it. Not only have we measured it in the LifeWave labs, but we have 90 independent research studies from places like Oxford, Cambridge, and so many other independent labs throughout the world. So this is a very powerful antiviral. Germs, viruses, bacteria. We know from research since 2015 until present that germs, or actually viruses and germs can actually morph from one state to the other. So it's not like it's a static state where a virus is always a virus and a germ is always a germ causing infection. A germ can morph into a virus and a virus can morph into a germ. I first learned this from Dr. Said Tabibzadeh of UCI. He has a lab at the School of Biology at UCI, and he also has his own independent private lab that's privately funded through large fortune companies. And when that was first discovered, he came on to the radio show that I had at the time called The Bottom Line Show Live, and he revealed all sorts of things like what I just shared with you about germs and viruses being able to morph back from one state to the other. So what we previously thought that a virus, once a virus, always a virus, or a germ, once a germ, always a germ, is not necessarily true, because they actually witnessed for the first time. I believe it was, well, in 2015 is when I learned about it. So it was probably a little time before that it was actually discovered. It's about the same time that they discovered the mirror neuron, which they also called the miracle neuron, which he also shared in that particular radio show. And he came on to talk about anti-aging properties, effects, things that you could actively do. And so that is when I had the awareness that, oh my gosh, these things can actually morph from one state to the other. We know a lot more now since then, but that was the genesis, that was the beginning of that discovery at that time. So antiviral, glutathione is going to boost your antiviral properties in a place and time where we're here in 2022. It's basically December 2022. The last 2 to 3 years have been mind-boggling, how the entire globe has been affected by the circumstances around the pandemic. Can you imagine the peace of mind it would have given you? Not to mention the protection. This is like an insurance. I actually had a gal who started the stem cell activation patches in August, and in October, she actually ran out of patches. She was using them a little bit more than one at a time per day. So instead of them lasting the full 30 days, she ran out in October. And sure enough, because she didn't order enough to have a replacement, so she didn't have a break in time, since she's just at the beginning of this, she ended up getting sick that week. And she realized after a couple of days, she's like, why am I getting sick? She's like, oh my gosh, that's right, I don't have glutathione, because she was on a real big uptick. She came to me in August where she could barely move because she had the spine of a 90-year-old arthritic woman. She has spondylitis and was hardly able to move. And after just 2 months on the stem cell activation patches, because we've been on the, contacting each other back and forth, and I've been following up with her, and she reports back to me all the time. Something changes and improves. She's quick to let me know. She lets me know, oh my gosh, I'll never forget. In October, right before she got ill, she said, I played pickleball. It was a weekend. She played pickleball, she went hiking, and she did yoga. And I'm like, how is that even possible? She was supposed to have surgery in September. She ended up postponing that surgery. And now she's doing all these things that she wasn't able to do. And she had this little setback, which really is a setup, because it showed her and shows us how powerful that glutathione level in your body is and how it does protect you against things. And so as soon as she got back on the glutathione, which she had a few days later, then it immediately knocked everything out. And you can see, I have a report. If you check on my YouTube channel, you'll see Al, who 2 hours and 18 minutes after he put on the patches, not 1, not 2, not 3, all of his symptoms were gone. High fever, chills, body ache, headache, nausea, everything was gone 2 hours and 18 minutes after he patched. Now, one of the most important things to know when you wear these patches is that you have to drink 50% of your body weight in water. So I'm going to put these down for just a second, because I think it's important that distinction. And it's one of the key things. While as a general rule of thumb, you should always drink 50% of your body weight in water, but you have to drink 50% of your body weight in fluid ounces of water, because otherwise your cells are sticky. And if your cells are sticky, then as your stem cells are creating new cells, the cells will get stuck and they won't go to where it is they need to be to replace and repair scar tissue, lesions, take away inflammation and repair that cell and get rid of the old one. So it's important that you have good hydration. So the energy, so those electrolytes, that light can move quickly and easily in the form of your cells to where it needs to go. Your bone, your heart, your eyes, like right now, my body has to get cells to go to my eyes because I poked my eye 4 days ago. This is now the beginning of the 4th day. I will later show, but I've got a little red going on here in my eye because I actually hit my eye on Monday. And then when I woke up on Tuesday, I had a hemorrhage. So the white of my eye all had red. So I don't want to give you too much of a close-up because it's not the most attractive thing. But I did take pictures and I will post them so that you could see how the day after I hit my eye, then of course I had the hemorrhage in the eye. And then the 3rd day, there was a little bit more. And then the next day, there was considerably less. I changed my placement of the patches with a little help. And then today I have almost none. It's almost all gone. Otherwise, that probably would have taken weeks, maybe the better part of a month. And in less than a week, it's almost gone. So 50%, as a reminder, can't say this enough, 50% of your weight in fluid ounces of water. Very important. Okay. So that's the glutathione patch, mother, daughter, stem cell activation patch, retaining wall, right? Glutathione, your master antioxidant. Okay. So now your 3rd wall is going to be Eon, your master anti-inflammatory patch. This master anti-inflammatory patch, I love this patch. This patch is the anti-stress, also known as the happy patch. It raises your retinoplastins. It increases DHEA. It does brain balancing, my friends and gems. For those of you who have any kind of anxiety, anxiousness, frustration, annoyance, jitters or jitteriness. I need to drink a little more water. A little frog in my throat here. Excuse me. You see, perfection's not required for this. Okay. So it does create brain balancing. So it's going to create a calming effect with this Eon patch because it's reducing your inflammation, balancing out your brain. It goes to reduce the C-reactive proteins and the cortisol levels in your body. We know that when you have a fight or flight response, if you're triggered, if you are frustrated, if you're in traffic and you're anxious and you're like desperate, intolerant, any of those type of emotions, your adrenals, boom, jump. And they create cortisol levels in your bloodstream and your C-reactive proteins. The higher your C-reactive proteins, again, that your hippocampus is triggering your fight or flight response, the C-reactive proteins go up. And for people who have, for example, people with large, complaints of pain in their joints from rheumatoid arthritis, we know that rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. It's an autoimmune condition where your immune system is turning on itself. It's increasing C-active proteins that are so high that it's causing an incredible amount of pain. It causes, the dissolution and the eating up of cartilage in your body, which creates a bone on bone in the hands, the knees, the shoulders, the hips. Really, really painful. This patch will take that pain level down along with the previous patches that we discussed because it's reducing specifically your cortisol and your C-reactive proteins. Huge. If you check out the video that was posted, it was July of this year, you'll see April Stewart Vaughn. I think it's labeled April Vaughn. She talks about how she was able to restore her body from rheumatoid arthritis, as well as lupus, Lyme, and her 2 children who were born with rare blood disorders. They got on the stem cell activation patches. And because their original stem cells that they were conceived with were turned on, and both of them under the age of 30, 21, now 21 and 25. Their bodies are now restored and they are doing fantastic. So they've experienced reparation at a cellular level that is affecting the global body level. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's Eon. The next patch is the carnosine patch. Carnosine, which is the third Y-age system, it completes the three amigos. It also completes the Fantastic Five. It's part of the Y-age kit, so you can buy this in a bundle, which are the mother and daughter stem cell. And then once you get started, your second month, you can buy this in a bundle too. And carnosine, think about carne asada. Carne is beef, right? So all things related to the heart, all things related to heart and muscle and your cardiovascular system. So this stem cell activation patch improves healthy brain function. It improves your memory and processing time, strength, stamina, and endurance. Most people are not aware of the fact that when you have a great cardiovascular system, you have good memory, good focus, good brain processing time. If you have slow cardiovascular system or you have any compromise in your cardiovascular system, that's going to lead to loss of memory, slower processing time, foggy brain, stuck brain, can't think brain. This is going to clear all that up. This patch also improves your cardiovascular system, as I mentioned before, and all things that are related to the heart and muscle. It detoxes your body from aluminum and aids wound healing. So I want you to think about this because a lot of people don't give a lot of thought about how much exposure they have to certain things like aluminum. So I'm sure most people, not all, but a great number of us have drank something out of an aluminum can. It could be water, beer, cranberry juice, apple juice, pear juice, canned foods that are in aluminum cans. How many people have gone to an event or hosted an event at their home where they got the food from a caterer and the caterer had aluminum trays that was covered in aluminum foil or an aluminum covering, all of which the food was touching and pulling traces of aluminum into the food, which then you go ahead and you eat, unaware that you have all that exposure to aluminum. I would say I definitely have done that. How many of us have used toothpaste in our lifetime for years on end that the toothpaste was in an aluminum tube, or a cream of any type, a lotion, some sort of pomade that's in an aluminum tube, and now you're putting it on your scalp, you're putting it on your hair, you're putting it on your skin. How many of us? How many of us have drank water out of an aluminum canteen in Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts? I did. I have. I try to avoid drinking things out of aluminum things from this point forward, but a lot of people aren't aware of the fact that it wasn't until 2014 that Tom's toothpaste, because of their customers saying to Tom's, how could you have organic toothpaste in an aluminum tube? We know for the last 25 years that aluminum is a known neurotoxin. And so because of the clamoring of their supporters, they moved to a recyclable plastic tube container instead of aluminum. And since then, many of the other toothpaste manufacturers have since then changed over from an aluminum toothpaste tube to now a recyclable plastic tube. So we've all been exposed to aluminum, and of course it's absorbed through the skin, absorbed through the body, and it goes directly into your brain and other parts of the body. And it's a known neurotoxin. No bueno, as they say. No bueno. That's a no. So this, my friends and gems, is going to help you restore your body so that you are, as the French would say, sans aluminum. Okay. So moving on here. If you want to, we have other stem cell activation patches. I will do a video where I cover all 12. This one, I wanted to talk about the Fantastic Five. You know, we have our dynamic duo, and then we have our three amigos. So X39, X49, mother-daughter stem cell activation patch, dynamic duo. And then you have glutathione, carnosine, and eon, which are the trace amigos, and complete the Fantastic Five. Turns you into a superhero because it creates the foundation and the structure for your body to repair, restore, rebuild itself. Now, something to note about these stem cell activation patches is you are to wear these. These are all morning patches. So you put them on first thing in the morning after you brush your teeth. And then 12 hours later, you set your alarm to remove them. And then you take them off, because just as you are awake during the day and burning energy, then at nighttime, you go to sleep and the repair and restore and the rebuilding phase takes place. And then the next day you turn on the lights again, you're awake, you're literally awake, you've got extra light flowing in your body, 33% more stem cells doing all these things that we just talked about. And then 12 hours later, you take them off. You can apply, if you're wearing night patches, for example, this next patch, how many of you would like to activate your pineal gland? Pretty much anyone who is a meditator or anyone who has a spiritual practice or is aware of how our pineal gland plays a very large role in our, not just our spiritual makeup, but also how the physique of our body is, I'm going to say, managed. So we actually have a patch that will activate your pineal gland. So that patch, because it's activating your pineal and it's activating melatonin levels, melatonin is a very powerful antioxidant that puts you to sleep at night. And it's based on not only your circadian rhythms, but based on your exposure to sunlight during the beginning of the day and the end of the evening. Because in the morning, as you look at the UV spectrum of light, it's around 300 to 400. And by the time it's noon, it's about 1200. And then you have infrared in the morning. And then at the end of the day, you have more blue light. And at the end of the evening, that's signaling your body to turn on your melatonin. And in the morning, your serotonin is signaled. So serotonin gets you up in the morning and melatonin puts you to sleep. So when you put the Salavita patch on your third eye to activate your pineal gland, yes, it does increase the regeneration of epithelium peptide in your skin, which is a peptide that's used to rebuild and to take away fine lines and wrinkles and to do reparation of the skin inside and outside the body. But this patch, I love it because, yes, it rejuvenates me, but it also activates my pineal gland. It increases my melatonin levels. It also helps with mental clarity, focus, better sleep, reduces oxidative stress. And my favorite part of wearing this, especially at night, it stimulates the frontal lobe of your brain, which has to do with your executive function. Very powerful patch. So after 12 hours, I like to wear my patches 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So at 10 p.m., I remove my patches and then I put my Alavita patch. And then I put carnosine, which instead of wearing it during the day, I wear it here on my right temple. The only exception when I don't, like the last few days, wasn't wearing it on my right temple because I injured my eye and I had that hemorrhage. I actually took 2 Eon patches and wore it on both temples. Then I had my Alavita patch here. And then I put the carnosine patch that rebuilds lean muscle mass and bone, etc. I put that on here so it would rebuild whatever needed to be rebuilt in my eye. And evidence is the loudest voice. Now you see, I don't have that much red in my eye anymore. Thank goodness. Okay, my friends and gems, it's been 47 minutes. We're going to finish this here. I want to direct you to this website. You can't buy anything on this website. This video is not intended to sell anything to you. You can't buy anything on this video. This video is here to inform you, to educate you. My personal mission statement has been for years to facilitate, to educate, encourage, and empower you. Once I can facilitate that process and start to give you the building blocks of educating and giving you something that you have a foundation on which you can now stand on, now you can start to make an informed decision, because now you can take at least either baby steps or big steps in the direction of whatever it is that you have as your own personal health goal and your dreams for yourself. Does that make sense? So this website, startx39now.com, has a couple short videos that are a couple minutes long a piece. And it also has the 90 scientific research studies. In fact, if you give me a moment, I'm going to share screen with you what that looks like so that you have an idea. So start x39now.com. Whoops, I inadvertently. Okay, it's loaded. So now I can share screen with you guys. Start X39 is right here. Okay, so this is an educational site. If you tried to buy, it's impossible. It's only an informational educational site. Yes, we do have it in more than one language. We are in 81 different countries. So I have my patients and clients are all over the world. They're in Europe, they're in Canada, they're in Central South America, Mexico, Korea, even though we don't distribute to Korea, but I do have people who have family in Japan. So they have it shipped to Japan, and then their family member mails it to them in Korea, South Korea. So this website's available in English, Espanol, Spanish, German, and Chinese, I believe. So you'll see on the site, there's a little 1-minute video here, how light actually works in your body, and then the power of X39 here. And for those of you who are neuro nerds like myself, and we like to geek out on the patents, the studies, and actually get through the scientific research, I've had a blast, and I've actually read a couple papers on my YouTube channel that you can learn about. You'll see one that speaks specifically about IceWave, which is a pain management patch. The IceWave does not repair anything in your body. It doesn't rebuild or repair, but it shuts off the pain receptors in your body. And it is a 2-patch system that comes with 30 patches, 15 are white and 15 are tanned. And it's a binary system because it's a positive and a negative charge to turn off your pain receptors in the body. So we point to where we feel it, and we put the patch on if the pain is on the right side of the body, we put a white patch on the right side, and on the left side, we mirror that. We have a couple of other methods on how to place this to maximize pain relief, but we're not going to get into that. If you're interested in the stem cell activation playlist on my YouTube channel, you're more than welcome to check that out as well. So to get to the patents and studies, here you have the patents and studies. You simply click on this and you will see that you have not only all the patents that are here, but you'll see the featured research, the double-blind testing from all the different journals where they were published and so forth. So you will see all the information here, all the published studies, all the way to the bottom. It's a long list because there's 90 of them. See, I'm barely a third of the way down. And so we're not going to take time to look at these, but you'll see that I have, in fact, we've actually shared some of these studies on my YouTube channel. The other thing, if you are interested in a little bit of information about GHKCU, this is on PubMed. The story of how X39 got started in a PDF, and then we have age reversal and the scientific evidence that Dr. Picard is famous for. He originally found out about 20 years ago how critically important copper peptide is, not just for anti-aging, but also for the restoration of the body at many different levels. So this is, like I said, this is our educational informational site. If you like what you see here, oh, another thing that I did not mention, so that when you have been on the stem cell activation patches, we recommend that you be on the stem cell activation patches for 12 months. Why 12 months? The reason being that it takes the human body, every organ system of the body, every organ, let's say your bones, it has a longer schedule to replace every single bone cell in your body. So if doctors know that it takes about 2 years to grow about 3 centimeters of bone, typically about 2 years. However, when you're on the stem cell activation patches, everything is going faster and faster and faster. So some people in the first, 3 3 to 6 hours, may or may not feel something. Some people it takes 3 to 6 days, others 3 to 6 weeks. Some it takes 3 to 6 months. 80% of the people feel something in the first 3 to 6 weeks. Once you've been on the stem cell activation patches for 6 months, if for the people who have done blood tests, because we have blood tests of many people who, I have some patients who every month, some every day because they're diabetics, type 1, type 2. But after 6 months, our biomarkers will show for that person who's been on a stem cell activation patches for 6 months that their body is 8 to 10 years younger. And for those who have worn the patches for 12 months, for example, Stacy in August finished 12 months of being on the patches. When she had her blood tests done, her biomarkers showed that although she was turning 48 on September 23rd, her body showed that her biomarkers were barely 30 years old. So she had in effect turned back and replaced all the cells in her body to have her body behave like that of someone who's barely 30 years old. She was ecstatic, as you can only imagine. And so she decided, I'm not going to get off these patches now. I'm going to see if I can get down to 25. And I want to live to be 120 and a good quality of life of 120, not where I decline and decay and disabilitate myself, but I'm actually going to be in great shape. And at 120, one day, I'll decide, you know what? It's been 120 years. It's time to get off the planet, go to sleep, and drift away. But you'll still have health and vitality all the way till the end. And so doesn't that make sense, to live a better, happier, healthier, better feeling life? So that is the startx39now.com. I'm going to stop sharing that. Let me see if there's anything else. I do want to share one other thing with you, because since we did talk about blood work, let's talk a little bit about that. Many people that come to us have their doctor they're under a specific doctor or doctor's care, but it's not uncommon for us to have people that come to us. Our team has 710 doctors and holistic care practitioners. And so as someone who's getting started on these stem cell activation patches, once you get started, you have access to that think tank, to that knowledge, to that experience. And there's no additional costs. Once you're on the stem cell activation patches, then you can ask questions about anything and you can get feedback and you can get some guidance. Never to be replacing, of course, whoever your primary care physician is. And we have people who don't have a primary care physician. And so, but they would like to get their blood work done. So we do have, I'm going to show you here. We do have the ability to refer you to get your blood work done here. We use Quest Labs, which is actually one of the largest labs in the world. It's available in Canada, the United States, Australia, quite a few other different countries. When you click the link, you can check that out. But the distinction that this particular blood test screening does is that it, instead of testing the traditional 12 or 18, no more than 24 markers in the body, this one will actually test for 43 biomarkers instead of the traditional dozen. Sometimes a doctor will just order a CBC or a CBC with differential, which is a little extra, as opposed to just like a basic. CBC stands for cell blood count. So you can check out here. We'll be posting this. I won't put it in the description. I'll put it in the comments of the YouTube channel posting once this is done processing, and you'll be able to click on this link if you're interested in getting your blood screening done. We put the link twice just in case one is funky. The other one, is as a backup. And this is going to tell you how Inside Tracker works, because you can download Inside Tracker, the app, on your phone. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on Inside Tracker, etc. You can check that out. But this will give you information there. And then you can watch this YouTube video that will tell you what's different about Inside Tracker blood screening versus your traditional doctor's, blood tests. It's all explained there. So we will put this again in the comment section. If I could fit it in the description of the video, I would, but for right now, it'll be in the comment section. last but not least, if you're interested in, we do these videos, the information videos every day. If you want to jump on one of the calls where we have video testimonials, which I'm going to share one more thing. Once you get started, you also have access to our community on Telegram. We have on my Telegram community here, I have over 4,128 people on there. I'm going to share that with you so that you can see that right now. Where is it? Here. So this is wonderful. If you have any kind of condition that you would like to see or hear testimonials on, just let me know. Once you are actually started on the stem cell activation patches, then you'll be able to go here to this community. You'll see here we have 4,128 members that are actively on the stem cell activation patches, including Dr. Stacy, Dr. John, quite a few doctors that are in here. So all you do is you put whatever your condition is, and let's say, so here you have this story of, let's see, 41. This one has to do with heart failure. Here's someone who had this illness in the hospital for 3 weeks and how they were able to overcome that. Let's do IBS. There we go. So here you go. IBS. I'm going to do fractures again. Here we go. Here's someone with a fractured sternum, pain reduced, still line dancing and volunteering. Wow, I haven't actually seen that one yet. Okay. I don't think that one's coming up. Okay. Let's say diabetes. Here's someone with blood pressure issues. Someone who had radiation poisoning. She recovered from radiation poisoning 23 years ago. She started with the radiation poisoning. So she was in bed, dying, needing assistance to go to the restroom. Now she's riding motorcycles and is a caregiver. So anyhow, so this is a little like library that you can enter whatever the condition is, and then you'll have the different testimonials here. When we do the live videos, we post the Zoom video links here, and then afterwards, the recording is placed here, and so you can pull that up to watch yourself or to share with a friend. Okay, so that's enough information for now. You know how to get in touch with me. Thank you, my friends and gems, for tuning in, tapping in, turning on. If you would like a personal one-on-one to see what your best match for, if you need the basic 5 or if you need other supplemental patches. Some people also need, help with sleep. That's what we have the Nirvana patch for. We also have the Nirvana mood enhancer system for people who have, actually we have silent nights, but Nirvana also helps you sleep. Silent nights, which is specifically for sleeping. Nirvana is for people who have depression, bouts of depression, someone who has more serious depression and really high pain issues. We put them also on the Nirvana mood enhancer system that comes with supplements. I recently had someone who had an incredible testimonial. I should show you that testimonial. We'll finish with that one because she was very surprised. This woman has had a lot of she had a lot of several deaths at the beginning of the fall of this year. And it was very daunting, as you can only imagine. And so here's someone with silent night patches, made me sleep until 10:30 a.m. at your house. Sure works, girlies. And I have another one. I think stem cell patches are, because she was coming down with flu-like symptoms. She didn't get tested for COVID, so we don't know if it was COVID or what. But she says, I think the stem cell patches are working. I'm feeling human, slept a lot. Here's another, okay, let me see. And here's another one for diabetes. Oh, I can't get it to, okay. Now let's see. Okay, let me see if I can find the Gwen. We'll finish with that one. If I can find it. Sometimes it's hard to find certain things. Oh, here's another one. Here's someone who so she weighed herself on Thursday and she lost 2 pounds. I'm getting some lower back pain, but not like before. This is someone who has MS. I was able to shop with my granddaughter. Oh no, this one doesn't have MS. This is another one. I was able to shop with my granddaughter for 1.5 hours without having serious pain and go walking Thursday on a mountain that I usually had to stop at least 4 times and stretch out. This time climbed with ease and no stopping. Last night, staying on the coast at my daughter's, I used the Alavita patch between my brows, as Lillian suggested, and got the best night's sleep in months. I didn't go pee once and woke once and fell back to sleep again and didn't wake up until 6:30 a.m. I've been waking at 1:30 and 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. most nights, but no more. That was very exciting to get that. Yep. I could keep going on and on. I have another gal with Raynaud's. So, okay, I can't find the one that I wanted to show you about. I might be able to find it in the activating group, but I think you have the gist of it. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can get a hold of me. If you want to call our hotline, you're more than welcome to call our hotline. But the best thing is to get in touch with me, Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, or in the comments below. Let me know that you're interested in getting in touch. You can always call our hotline, 949-478-2221. I'll type it here on the screen just so that you can see. It's 949-478-2221. Okay, my friends and gems, 949-478-2228. And as always, ciao for now. Thanks for tuning in, tapping in, and turning on.